Alright guys, no jokes today. I'm excited about this topic. Today we're going to be talking about the bass side rudiments and finishing up this whole scale rudiments thing that I've been talking about for the last couple of months. So, I'll say it right now, if you haven't seen my other videos on scale rudiments and this is the first one you're checking out, stop and go and check out the other ones, because this video is going to draw heavily on those videos, especially the first one, basic scale rudiments. So as a quick reminder, scale rudiments are a collection of small note patterns. There are three of them, three basic ones. And they reoccur in such a way that you can build every diatonic scale out of them, out of certain repeating patterns. And as we had mentioned before, Bob Culbertson does a fantastic video on this called, Scales Out of the Universal Scale. Go check that out on YouTube. And, as I just said there is a universal scale, so these scale rudiments occur in a repeating pattern that, depending on where you start in that pattern, you will always be able to play through that pattern and get diatonic scales out of it. So quick reminder, we've got our A rudiment, which is your root followed by a whole step, followed by another whole step. Then we've got our B rudiment, which is the first note of the scale, followed by a half step, followed by a whole step. And then we've got our C rudiment, which is the first note of the pattern, followed by a whole step, and then a half step. The reason these work is that when we are in fourths tuning, and we go up 2 scale degrees, to the third note of the rudiment, the next note on the next string will be, depending on where that falls in the rudiment, either it's going to be a fourth above, perfect fourth above the original note, or it's going to be, an augmented fourth above it if you're in like Lydian or Locrian or something. That sits at the fourth scale degree. That's kind of, where you can think of fourths like that. It's moving in scale degrees of 4 notes, right? So we've got our first note, our second note, our third note, and then when we go up a fourth, there's our new rudiment starting on a new string, starts on the fourth note of the scale. Now, when we are in fifths, like in the bass side, in order to do that, same kind of rule. If we're moving up a fifth from one string to the next, like that, we have to have 4 scale degrees on one string to catch every note in between this string and the next string. So how do we get these rudiments for a fifths tuning, right, that involve 4 scale degrees? Well, what we're going to do is we are going to combine 2 of the rudiments together to get this kind of like large hybrid rudiment, right? So here's how we're going to look at it. We're going to combine rudiments together, and we're just going to take 2 rudiments. When you combine every rudiment, like AA, AB, AC, BA, BB, BC, and CA, CB, and CC, you want to take a look at the ones that are going to provide you with 4 notes combining the 2 together. So we're going to look at it like this, right? We've got our first rudiment, that's A, and then our second rudiment is going to start on the second note of that scale. So AC is going to look like this. There's A, and there's C. All together, AA is going to look like this. Here's our first A, and then on the second note of the scale is our second A. BA is going to look like this. Here's B, and then A, like that, so all together. BC is going to look like this. Here's B, and starting on the second note is C. That's our whole half, or whole half rudiment there. And then CB is going to look like this. Here's C, and then B, all together. So I'm taking one rudiment, again, I'm taking one rudiment and going all the way through it, and then I'm taking the second rudiment and starting it on the second note in that rudiment. And if I can get all the way through it without a big chromatic mess, you know, if I play BB, it's going to look like this, right? I've got a whole step, or a half step as my first note, and then a whole step. But if I play B starting on the second note of a B rudiment, I've got to play that half step. And so now I'm playing all 5 of these frets chromatically. And that's just not going to, you know, you can't have so much chromaticism to get your diatonic scales. Maybe those work for you know, extended scales, blues scales, and bebop scales and stuff like that, but we're just taking a look at the basic bass side rudiments right now, which will have 4 notes per 5 or 6 frets. Like that, and then we're going to layer those on top of each other. So just like the basic rudiments, we've got a universal kind of scale pattern that repeats over and over again to make up the diatonic scales with these rudiments as well. And that pattern is AC, AC, CB, CB, BA, BA, AA. And then it'll repeat back to AC, AC. So let's take a look at these in action. First things first, we've got our Ionian scale, which is, or the Ionian mode, which is the major scale, and that's going to be like this: AC, AC, then another AC, then we've got CB, CB again, and then finally BC. Just like that. Next, we've got the Dorian mode, and that's going to start on the first CB, so that's going to be CB, CB, BA, BA, AA. So, to begin, CB, then CB again, then BA, then BA again, and then AA. Just like that. Next up is the Phrygian mode, the third mode of the major scale, and that is going to be BA, BA, AA, AC, AC. Still fitting into our universal scale, starting on the BA section. BA, BA, AA, AC, AC again. And you may be noticing something here. Whenever we get to AA, it pulls us back 1 fret. So, you know, in the Ionian mode, if we're starting on the first quadrant right here, everything lays, you know, the lowest that you go on each string is right on that fret. When we get to the Dorian mode, when we get to AA, that top string, it pulls us back 1 fret from the total. When we get to Phrygian, same thing. And when we get to AA, that new lowest fret becomes our new starting point. Now we're on the 4th scale degree. We've got the Lydian mode, and the Lydian mode starts on AA. So that's going to be AA, AC, AC, CB, CB. AA, AC, AC, CB, CB. And as I mentioned before, the lowest note in AA becomes the new lowest fret of the entire rudiment. Next up we have the Mixolydian mode, which starts on the 2nd AC. So we've got AC, CB, CB, BA, BA. So we've got AC, CB, CB, BA, and BA. Now we've got the Aeolian mode, which is the natural minor scale, and this is going to start on the second CB. So that's CB, BA, BA, AA, AC. And remember, when we get to that AA, it's going to drop the whole starting fret back one. So we've got CB, BA, BA, AA, and AC. And finally we have the Locrian mode, which starts on the second BA. So that's going to be BA, AA, AC, AC, CB. And again, with the double A, we're pulling back one fret. It's going to look like this. BA, AA, AC, AC, and CB. So why even bother with these? Well, they're just a way to look at the bass side a little bit more linearly. You now have like a 5 to 6 fret range that will, that you can just kind of look at and see where your scales lie on the bass side. You know, a lot of us come from guitar or bass and we're very used to dealing with fourths, or if we're coming from piano, we're really not used to looking at stacked strings like that. And so, the more ways that we have to kind of codify everything, the easier it'll be for some people to see. At least that's how my brain works, 100%. Even just doing this video, I have a much clearer understanding of how the scales line up on the bass side. And, as always, the combining scales and the half whole, half rudiment, all that stuff still apply to, the bass side scales. It's just these are the basic bass side, or the basic fifths tuning rudiments. So I hope this was helpful. Take that, practice them, try and see the shapes for yourself, and yeah, cool, keep exploring.